I have more potential, but the problem sa kuha daw ko no is that the lack of focus, no? Yeah, and siya, you are more like of a butterfly. You're flying, and then and siya, now I want you to be more of a cheetah. You have to hunt for a one. So that's what. So muna karon nga the more magud nga masud ka sa mawa ka sa imong focus, mawa sa ang imong strength.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Right. And do you already have like a strategy in mind, or did you work with him on what are the action plans that you need to make in order for you to gain that focus that he was talking about?
yeah, yeah. Actually, he very simple ingon siya. I'll just focus on three important things every day.
What are those three? Can you share?
Like three specific, like every day I have three things to be focused. Like for example, right now we're talking about, so sa plan sa akong plan karon nga day is that the grain table nga katong samples nga gipang build, and then the quality. So that's for one and two. The third is the ARCA. So I have to focus on those only. I only think on that three things in this day. But make sure that I get to achieve that
Okay.
three things.
So,
Yeah.
three things lang, Jud. Yeah.
Three things again. Yeah. And if na kay more time, then you can, I think karon na more time muna na ang other side. So muna focus ka niya. Ako nang buhaton before ko matug, and then I review it in the morning. And then part of it also, since naa na may matrix na naso na may goal i-target, like for this week mo only i-achieve nga sales. So second week mo ni achieve. So naagid siya target gid bro. So it keeps me motivated to do things, and away na po ko sa bang things na dili na ko related.
Right, right. So
Yeah.
pag dili siya related to those three things or that you have already set out to achieve, no, you would just say no to it.
Yeah. 100% no na dayon niya. Mayon ka nga like kaning Arca. Yeah, kaning Arca Village. It's related to us man pod, but I consider it as a long term.
Right.
Kay nga nganong akong ning work. So now if I have now the green table nga smoothies nga akong i-build, the community that I build, mo ba niya ang i-produce pod within that location.
Right.
So
How, how do you balance it na thinking about the long term and then uh the short term urgent, no, and important activities that you need to do, and then balancing it out with the long term vision. Do you have like a structure that just only a percentage of your time for the long term kay daghang nga kasi
uh,
kasuko? Do you have a framework that you ano
uh,
you
sa
follow?
sa una, I always look at the future mo nang mura ko butterfly kaya I was looking for opportunities, no, because you're
Right.
always looking like that mayong bitata nga I want to be a unicorn ana ba, but
Mhm.
ang karon I would rather focus on, but first I will see it first muna nga how far this company can go. So kibaw na ka sa future, but to be able to make this company go far or go to IPO, what are the minor things that I need to build? So, like Menta Green Table, I have to be at Shell Station for now for 20 stores because that's our capability for now.
20
But
stores.
yeah, but I have the matrix that this 20 stores has to order and increasing ang iyahang orders. And then that's only for a short term. Now, but ang goal good for 1 year is to have 100 stores.
1 year, 2025 is the goal.
Yeah, but I cannot go to 100 stores if I will not be at di ko ka-achieve sa 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
kaning 100 stores, no, if you think about it, yeah, magsugod pa kamurag siya daghan, pero there are other companies that build more than 100 stores in a year, 'di ba? Like katong mga coffee shop, 'di ba? Dali ra kay sila buto dayon. Uh,
Yeah.
200,
Ang
300
sa
stores, milk tea, but that's that's so the execution strategy is very different, no, from what we learn, or what we are, no, our capacity
uh,
right now, no?
yeah, ang nakita nato, ang kita man good, we always look at the 100 or the 1,000.
Mm.
But we forgot that if we make really good at 20, the 10x will come after that.
Right.
So we are more focused on 100,000, but you are not developing foundation to make it to 1,000. The
Mhm.
20 stores will be the foundation to make you to 1,000 to 2,000. Because from there you have to blend the right smoothie, you have to have the right component, you have to have the right steps. And then once mo succeed ni ang 20, multiplications come na. That's why I'm really focused on the micro, but seeing also the potential of the business. Kaya ngayon
Right.
may nga, like may nga saying, I see so much potential on this business. Everybody is selling just fruit shake and these things, and you have a brand, you have a great story, and you have a great product, and you have really a purposeful journey to achieve, and people would like that. And then your product is emotional product, and then ano ba, and it serves a need. And then so nakita nimo ang didakon, but wala na ko mo focus on saan kadako, ni focus ko how can I serve first the 20 so I can get. But right now actually more than 20 naman ta, but kare ang shell man eh. So I have to win
Mm.
on the shell, which is we started with a few branches. But karon tungod kay hyper focus ko dito, I get to make sure that the taste of the smoothies is really good, and the quality and the
Mhm.
process within it. Kay no matter daghan kay ka, but ang pag-serve di mao ang pagyana. So I think the same nakita nako sa Arca Village nga, you will see 100 villages sa atong vision, but there should be a one blueprint that works, which is
Right.
it works. But from that mo'y nakanindot mo gud ning kuan sa Arca is that uh, mas technical actually ang green table. At technical man ang Arca in a way, no? But with the expertise that we have, ang room for error, long term business, long term good. So
Right.
mura na I don't know, di ko ka kuan, pero
Okay, like
based sa atong
this,
experience ba maka-gauge sa tata na mo gutay
right.
basis.
Mao. Yeah. Yeah. So can we kanang go back ba to the genesis story of how it started. We know each other for pila na katuig, bro. No, 6, 7 years siguro. No, na when we started, when we have our
Oh,
different ideas in the startup scene, diba? You were always started with uh, you know, advocacy, di ba? That's you always started with your advocacy with uh I remember that time that you were training out of school youth, no, upskilling them and things like that, no. So yeah, just give us what's the backstory, the genesis story of who you are, as a person, as a founder, and then that came to be, you know, the Arca Village, movement of,
mhm.
of uh, addressing, the food security issue in the country, and and a lot of issues that that would this movement solve, no, apart from food security. We have also plans for affordable housing, we have plans for agritourism, and all of these, initiatives. But what's the backstory?
Yeah, I just realized no na I'm now I think I'm now 41 years old. And then I still remember back in my college days that or actually back when I was a childhood, and my father, my parents, it was really a curation ano when I was a kid. Because I questioned myself, I'm Chinese, I have this, but why my parents we live in the province? I have that question. I always have that question. Kaya ako thinking uta nga, I'm supposed to be super rich because my family name is this and that, ano ba? But off the record lang eh. But I was thinking like that. Anong naamang ko sa probinsya? I think I deserve more of having lived in a big city. That was my thing, no? But suddenly I was able to learn about my father actually is an ex-army, and then my mother is a teacher. and then that brought us there in the province. And first, my father actually quit becoming a military because my mom said, if mag-military ka, I will be you will die early, so I'll be a widow earlier. So you have to better find, if you want to build a family, you have to better find ano. But unfortunate enough, wala siya makapangita og work, and his choice was to create a livelihood. So he raised pigs for us to sell for my college. I still remember the time nga my dad maglisod og kaon because hugaw iyang kamot, and I was the one who who put the food to his mouth, and I cook it for him so he can feed himself kay kinanglan man namo nanganak man ang baboy, so kinanglan man namo nga makuan siya. And then I did realize that katong small steps gibuhat sa akong papa was able to create me become an engineer, become somebody who goes to China, to other countries, and be a good employee, no? And then I didn't realize right now how important creating a livelihood, because I'm as an engineer, I was raised by a father, no, who just raised pigs. And right now, when creating an Arca villages, you will never know. You're raising a scientist, you're raising an entrepreneur, you're raising a farmer that grows food for us, and that becomes my strength. And then from that, actually nahagbong ko pila ka years ipaundang ko sa kong mama, and you will see my background. I get to live there in a rice field because I was sent off to Leyte because my mom said you have to go there and explore. You have to stop school for you to realize. Kaya nagpabadlong man ko. And I didn't know that that was a failure. It's still part of that curation of being creating to be a founder, no? And then I learned to meet with farmers, learn to live there, learn so many things from there. That's why I have really heart of creating a community because it's natural to me.
So if wa ka nagpabadlong, wa untay ka.
Wa ka. Kaya di man sa ko kasabot kung kinsa na sila, di ba? Di ko
Yeah.
kasabot ang mga farmers, di ko kasabot ana. If I live in the city. That's why natubag ang question na ko ron nga, ano naman ko sa syudad? If na ako sa syudad, then I will not understand them. I will not be able to build a great village. So from there, I learned about maximizing resources, learning the true power of a community, no? So, but pagtiwas na kog engineering, naabot ko manufacturing, ngayon ko nga naabot man ko ani. Now farm ko, na ko engineering. Then I realized how important to create a livelihood, to create a sort of systems, no, to provide work. So I'm really exposed on manufacturing, especially sa China was there, and it became to think about. And the last part of the genesis was I have a second child named Matthew. Then I have a favorite verse actually, Matthew 19:29. Like with God, all things are possible. Ana gali. But my second child died, no, got miscarriage, and then that time also it was the time that I joined the DTI, nga Mentor Me program, and the number was seven. It's 777, bro. Like it was 7 of that day, and it's 7 week nga nakuha siya. And that day was the change because I joined BLD, Bukas Loob sa Diyos. I start to find my purpose. And eventually, that was the genesis that somebody, my son, took away from him, took away from us, no? 7 weeks. And then, dito, nagsugod-sugod na tag binago. And then, after few, the pandemic's trying to serve, then I have a second son named Noah. And there it started to, okay, if I want to create a business, I want to create a business that will really transform lives, build community, and all in my head is always like that until now. So that was the shift, bro. And I firmly believe that even Asaka, if naaalay great thinker or designer, you can change lives. That's why us engineers has to be in the farm to build this, because those are great resources that was not are untapped and undervalued.
Wow, wow. Well, you're very passionate about what you're doing, no? In Arca. So we talked about the backstory. How about present? No? What are uh what is a day for you look like, or a week for you look like, and what is Arca doing now, and other activities that you have to support Arca. No, and then after this, no, we'll talk about no what's the vision for the future.
My day is just always about people. I always love talking to people. I always love seeing things that created, like our smoothies, like our produce that is delivered. It's always been like that, and it's always been also looking for problems that we encounter and solutions that we can provide to make food more accessible. So right now, I'm very attentive about if there's too much rain, too much heat, uh, all those things, because I'm now a farmer. I'm now part of the community. So everything being difficult in the farm, I feel it also. So that's I always think about how can it will make it easier, how can it will make more resilient in these locations. So that's my day to day. And every day I always think about paradise. That's always I think like that's why I always grab pictures about living in the paradise. That's what I imagine. Uh, it's my also manifestation that someday with my family I'll get to live in a village with people. Because for me I don't really think like having a mansion. It's like for me I always have go home after work and then you get to see your family. But after doing work, at least and the end of your shift or end of your work day, you get to see things improve. So that's my thing every day. I'm just a simple person. Before I used to drink inom, diha, but right now I more hyper focus on things that matters. Yeah, I think that's the thing that I always do things that really matters, improving efficiency.
Nice. Okay. Let's talk about the problem that you're solving. Now, what did you see in the current no, agricultural landscape, especially here locally in our country, uh, that needs what are those problems that you see that you're trying to solve?
Uh Current problems. Actually, there's a lot of problems here in the Philippines. That what makes it. I see it an opportunity also. But these problems, what I see specific in usually when you say about when people see that Arca is a farm like that, ang nakita nila is na maligat ang vegetables, no? But what I see really is creating a sort of sustainable livelihood and providing a better life, because right now people are just chasing about after the shift they get paid or
Right.
surviving each day, and it's really tough, no? And you don't know that okay, maybe tomorrow wala na kay trabaho, because we're too much dependent on other. Like my wife is also a programmer, so during kanang pandemic natangtang siya, so we have that dilemma ba. So my thing really is that how can we provide work wherein you are not dependent on other countries. And what is very important is food.
Right.
So every day you needs food, but our food came from other countries.
Yeah.
Of course,
Ano man na, bro? Why is it that we're supposed to be a agricultural country, and then we have a lot, or I just saw the data, no, because I'm a numbers guy, no, that we're actually billions of dollars worth of imported agricultural products. No? Even rice, di ba? We're a rice eating country. Our rice is being imported, and a lot of these also agricultural products, and then we hear news that there are carrots or cabbage that is being thrown in the middle of the road just because kay malata naman, di ba? Or there's no buyers. But then,
Mhm.
there was a few months ago na wala yun. So why is it that's the case, no? So ano to take to. So I saw this news few months ago na wala tayong onions. But then I also see news that there are cabbage or carrots being thrown at the middle of the road because nobody is buying them or it's oversupply. And also see this news that billions of dollars is being imported the agricultural products, even no rice. As a rice eating country, now we are importing a lot of these goods. And then you can see if you go outside of the metropolitan area, daghan mag-farm sa Pilipinas. Yeah, daghan nananom or why is it, for me it doesn't make sense.
Sige, so katong question mo no. So for me, what I learned, actually this is a very sensitive topic, bro. Ah.
And that is why I want it to be controversial so people can know what's really happening. Eh. I have it's good that it would come from you because I've talked to business people, they have their own theories. But lain magod if you are really in the trenches, no, in the
Yeah,
farming community, things like that. You can talk, shit all you want about the agriculture sector. But if you're in your nice office in BGC, no, you don't really have uh no, parang on the ground knowledge of what's really
yeah,
happening.
yeah. Daghang kayo mga startups actually, no, talks about these things, and then but they are in the air, nag aircon ba, or they're talking expertly, but they're not even in the farm.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. That's why
Yeah,
they have a very nice office in BGC. Ano sila, they're trying to do something about the agricultural space, and they have a lot of things that they are talking about how to solve these problems. But they're not on the ground and listening to the real the real users or the real no the or the origin ba how the source, what's the problem at the source.
yeah.
uh yeah.
I would say, like it's a broken system that is really designed to be broken. That's what I
Hmm.
see. And I'll just give you one example that you could really always relate. If you go now to a, a store, a grocery store, or anywhere from a wet market, you will find a cherry tomato. You will get a price of 500 to 700. And you will say, a cherry tomato, it's expensive. Maybe this cherry tomato it's really it's difficult to grow.
Hmm.
So what I did myself, I said, okay, let's try to plant cherry tomato. Actually, growing a cherry tomato is just the same growing a regular tomato. But the problem is, no one is growing a cherry tomato, and you have to ship it outside from Cebu on other places. So this price becomes expensive. But this price goes from so many levels of people for it to come here in Cebu. And when we grow our tomato, even I can price it at maybe 150 or 100 or maybe 80. But for the market price for our cherry tomato is like 150. But that's the answer. Like, you know, there's the demand, there's the need, and why we're getting, and it can be grown here in Cebu. And why we're getting cherry tomato from other region, right? So it's the same way with onion. We can grow onion here, but it is carefully designed to be broken because if my business is importation, I can get. So you have to cripple the system. But the problem with this kind of business is it's a good business actually. These guys are really smart entrepreneurs. But the problem is it's not sort of it doesn't it doesn't connect to our values. You will be rich, but you're making it expensive to the people. Like it's not ethical for me. It's good to make money and buy those things, but if you're doing things unethical, that's not good because you have the advantage of having a big
Do
store.
they even know this or consider this? For example, if you're a trading business, no, that's basically your business model, but middleman ka. And do they even realize that this is the case? Uh, or while you say like they don't have any idea, it's just their business model is to trade, right? And uh, or do you think that no, there's really sabotage going on so that no people will not grow cherry tomato so that we can import it and all these no logistics or importers and middleman can earn a lot or
It's
just not lack of knowledge.
it's both ways. Like it's both ways. Because of a very bad system, some people we nakatapulan na po. So that's why we just buy. So it's our fault also, and people take advantage on it. Especially now with the climate change. So the result of agriculture really is very difficult business if you don't know how, if you don't have the right infrastructure. These guys in other countries or other region might have a very good infrastructure. That's why they have this stable supply. And Cebu having no supply will be taken advantage. So if I have the cherry tomato, wala kayo diyan, then I'll double it or quadruple it because you don't have. And that's why Arca is trying to do, is to prove that we can grow it here or grow it in the neighboring locations wherein it can be more accessible, right? So it's both ways. It's they know that it's not working and they will take advantage on it, and for the people also that it has really there, but they don't want to explore things like our farmers in the mountain. They know that, oh, we cannot grow cucumber, we'll just grow corn, but actually they can grow other crops there. So the lack of knowledge, the lack of infrastructures, and the lack of motivations is also an advantage for somebody who supplies.
Right. Yeah. How about the agrarian reform problem, no? Na if the farmers do not own the land, no, kat nilang mga hasyendero lang, so it's no, again, it's systemic. It comes from historical na owns by Spaniards and or and then brought down to generations, and then if the farmers doesn't own the land, then they are the one who's stealing it. Then but is that even true to this day? Because you can plant, and that's why I was very interested in the business model, that agrarian reform doesn't it's not necessary anymore, because the farmers, if they are able to earn decent living, tilling somebody else's land, and they're just profit sharing or what have you, and also what you have in your business model, the contract farming model, wherein you are directly supplying restaurants and hotels, direct from the farm. So that business model, I'm very curious about, and can you talk more a bit like that? How were you able to come up with this ingenious concept that solves a lot of problems by just doing contract farming, and then telling what the farmers want to plant, and then for the landowner, that they have an unused agri lot, no, they can now monetize that, and as Arca being the facilitator, nobody becomes greedy, nobody is taking advantage of everyone. So how were you able to come up with it? And we can talk more about this revolutionary concept of our ARCA?
Yeah, it's been a sort of, you've been hearing so many messages from wherever it is, but since it's from my heart already, I know because of my childhood experience. It's sort of mixed things, no? Mixed experience, mixed of sort of, I will call myself a domain expert on this because of I've been living in this life. No. So what, it's just simple, no? Everything is about value, and everything is about also resources. What we have currently right now is we have vast of resources, people and land. Those two things are very crucial, and we have a good sort of, unlike other countries, they have snow, they have these things. We have 20, we can grow 24 hours
Makes
at
sense.
rest of the year, right? So we have these great resources that really is really untapped. The problem of our current system, the broken system, is that there's a sort of disconnect. There are farmers with no land, but actually these farmers actually are not professional farmers. They just become farmers because they have no choice, and they are tilling the land that is not theirs, and maybe they are farming in a protected area also. And other side also, there are so many rich, or I would say, people that has so many resources like land, but they don't have people, and it's left barren,
Mhm.
right? And these
Right.
two things are really disconnected, and it needs somebody who is really passionate and focused on it. That's why we build the arc, yung arca, because from there it connects expertise, builds processes, enables community through community building, and those things wrapped together creates a bridge to these resources, land and people. It's like this land behind me, it will be enabled through the arca system, right? So
Yeah.
it's this maximization of people and land, but it's also creates needs also a sort of expertise from farming processes, technology, all this put it together into an arca system.
So right now, no, because they have been spending so much in agrarian reform, but then it's just no partnerships with landowners and farmers because they don't have farmers to till their land, and then these farmers don't have land to till. So it's common sense, right?
Yeah.
You could just enable these people to work together in
Uh,
use
just,
and yeah, go
yeah,
ahead, go ahead.
just to add to Roy, it's put in my head. What is really the key also there? Because there's an ARCA system, but it needs a nurturing capability.
How do you mean
Everything,
how do
everything that is it is nurtured, it will succeed. Everything not nurtured, it will deplete. So
you
it's like relationship. If that relationship is built well, nurtured well, it will do abundant things. And nature and agriculture is also sort of creating abundance. But to create abundance, there's a missing piece there. You have to nurture it. You have to nurture people. You have to nurture the land. You have to nurture partnership. So it needs that thing. And part of it is like caring for people. And that's the missing link. That's why I have land, but I don't care for people. So I'll just put the land there. And so with that nurturing aspect, that what I have, what we have is that we get to see people as very important piece of the ecosystem.
so it's really about nurturing people, no? That's why the ARCA model works. And now uh let's talk about no the Arca Village concept, no, because you have already done a pilot farm in Lusaran, Cebu, no, and then no the magic um there's something magical that happens when you started it out, no, not more than 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and then in just a matter of months. we were able to build a community, and this community was able to self-govern. This community was able to have livelihood, and then the community, I mean, the farming community and the F&B community that they are serving, who was able to visit the farm, was also very ecstatic about knowing where their ingredients came from, right? So there's that magical moment there that you now know where the food that you're eating or the food that you're serving your customers came from this community, no, that is sustainable. Uh, did you intend for that, or is just that a is that a was that part of the business model? Was it part of the plan, or it's just happened, and it was a happy accident? Or how is it?
Uh, it's not really a sort of an incident. It's really a thing like you have to build a village. You have to build an ark. Like if you want to survive in a great flood, obviously you have to build an ark.
Right.
You will not survive. You cannot just build anything. The primary requirement is to build an ark for it to store people or animals there to survive in a great flood. The same way with what we think about Arca. For these farmers or for this system to be connected, you have to build an Arca village. That's done away because everything is fragmented. But if you have to connect those systems and make it work, you have to build an arc of agriculture, which is Arca. And by that, we are able to intentionally create a community because it needs people there. And you have to create a great community wherein they can govern themselves, follow structures, standards. And by creating that, it will also attract customers, the chefs, the owners. And by that, because you created it intentionally, you will able to see results that the chefs now can talk to the farmers directly. And that creates value. And that becomes a platform wherein, okay, you need pala ganito. You need this
Mhm.
kind of crop. Okay, we'll grow. And it becomes the basis. It's just a standard. It creates that bridge to create more solutions, more, I would say, right. That's the thing that what it becomes magic because everything come into play. Everybody has put something there to make it happen. Like the farmers, the community
But
lead.
you also build like a framework, right? So there's like now a farmers cooperative, diba? There's now, uh, yeah. Can you talk a bit about that? No.
Yeah. Yeah. For you to provide a sort of sense of ownership, you have to build them a cooperative. You will not just employ them, but you have to be part of the cooperative wherein they will follow standards. But not the usual cooperative that lending or ganito, yes, just using the poor to be part of the cooperative. What we did is that we train people, let them follow the standards, educate them what are the right practices, farm practices. So it's like going back from where I am before 10 years ago as a manufacturing. When you get inside a manufacturing plant, everybody is there are well trained. Everybody follows a process
Mhm.
for it to be successful to create a good product. The same with Arca, it's like you're creating a big factory where is farmers, okay, system of farmers wherein they will follow standards. What the types of crops do you want to grow? What are the activities they need to follow, right? But and part of it is just not knowingly people becomes more productive because if you don't have systems there, people will just wait for somebody will say, "Oh, do that." But this time, because there's a system, people will just follow standards, follow steps, right? So for them to be to if for them to implement it easier. So, and we create sort of parang structures then. So we have a nursery, we have a post-harvest facility, we have a shelter, we have somebody. So it's all gears putting together so it will run. It's not just one gear.
Yeah.
It's an ecosystem play actually.
Yeah, the ecosystem play, no. So that's really also what resonates with me. No, before we wrap up and talk about what's the future of vision and the movement that we're trying to create, let's be more controversial, no. What would you say about kaning mga advocacy companies and social impact companies are just using poverty porn, no? We're in no eli- making people emotional about it so they would be able just to buy a product, no? And then no, because so non-profit and charity organizations, no, even no, there was the pork barrel scandal, no, a few years back about non-profits being used to no, uh, become profitable and the likes of the Napoles and things like that, no, they become very rich and just manipulating and using poverty porn is to raise capital and spend it elsewhere, buy their Porsches and Ferraris, things. Let's talk about this for a bit, no. So uh, what do you think about that?
Again, being poor is the result of the design by crippling the bad system. So now, when there are poor people there, then walang nang nag-grow ng crops. It will it's a chain of problems being created. For sure, to make sure people are dependent. Like if you're poor, you're dependent to somebody's rich guy, to somebody's asyendero. Now since my father and my family, or now I'm a farmer, don't call me poor. Don't call me idiot. Don't call me somebody who needs ACAP or those things, because I'm capable of creating a product.
Mhm.
So why would I line up there and ask for money wherein I can go to the farm and feed my family and serve to a greater customer? So it's by design. Even churches and on all other things is not just political. Everything is using poor as a weapon for them. But actually for me, it's not it's not actually we should not be using these words poor. It we really care for people. I don't even call my mom or other people like poor, because that's very the very hardest level in life, no. But what is really poor, that those people are really grabbing money from the poor. That's the poorest guy.
Yes.
And
And there's
right, companies like extracting other resources just to make money, I will consider them poor. But us people, like, because they were resources have been taken, and then there's not so much knowledge, their value becomes very less. But now if you are gifted, or if you are not gifted but you are trained and knows how to grow crops and do create livelihood, then you're now not anymore dependent. So that's what I see. It's just it creates a sort of dependency,
right.
right?
And then the connotation that farmers are for poor people, diba?
No.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
there was diba, like especially for your kids, no, like if you would touch soil, no, hugaw na, no, that's
yeah,
dirty, wash your hands, no. So now you grow up with that mindset that soil is dirty, land is dirty, oh.
yeah,
So so that's why when I was exposing my No, I didn't really that was also my mindset for the longest time. No, my dad is into also farming things like that. Me, I was I don't want that. I want tech. I want I want high tech or things like that. No, but when we were when my children were exposed to our farm, no, there was this moment when I asked my Vito, my oldest, na what do you want to be when you grow up? And when he answered, I want to be a farmer.
Yeah.
That that changed my whole perception no of of everything that was being indoctrinated to me growing up. No? Na moadto kong probinsya, kita ko dito sa akong mga igagaw na farmer na no, they are living in barong-barong, and then and then we go there, we bring gifts, so we're the ones who saving them. They go there, give them the gifts, give them my old toys, and my cousins would be very happy about that. No, so my thinking growing up, growing up as a city boy. You're a farmer, luoy ka, you're poor. No, but
Mm.
that's not well. That's a very, again, twisted. That was, again, very systemic. Was built in our society in our modern times. That it's and that's how I grew up. And then that moment when my son said that I want to be I want to be a farmer when I grow up. No,
Yeah.
that was a whole 180-degree change of my worldview. Hence, right now, we want to partner with you in this advocacy, of making ARCA villages nationwide and even probably go regional, because this is really a problem that needs to be solved. 120 million Filipinos needs food to eat every day, and if we are not self-sufficient as a country, always importing, and our peso, our currency is always weakens, then you're right. We're dependent now as a nation, as a poor nation, to countries that could help us out. So now let's talk about the vision for the future for uh what is that vision?
The vision of the future. Like actually, before it was just a like many years ago, it was just a vision. I remember putting it in my Facebook header to have like sort of a small. There's a farm and then there's a sort of a container van. Like I would always see people are working there creating products. The vision of the future is that actually, to be honest, the current situation of the smallholder farmers are they are really really poor, really hard to do things. But they are also rich in some ways because they have time, they are strong, they are there, but they are setting in locations that it's really rich, like soil, environment. But they don't have the capacity to do things, create product. So the vision of the future for me actually came from my current previous experience is that I will say villages that is very the villages that is very productive, right? It's like a factory, but a friendly factory wherein people can work there and be happy. Wherein they will live in a house, living in their house near in that location, wake up, go to the farm and build and work with people. So it's a new way, it's a new industry wherein before you just okay, you have to leave the province and go to the city and rent a house. Here is different. You wake up, there's a family there, and go few blocks away because there's a farm, there's a processing plant there, and you go home with your family. And it's a happy place wherein people also are productive. That's the vision. And the vision also, since people are happy and productive, those products will not just be serving the community here in the Philippines, or in Cebu is also exported from other rest of the world, right? It's like the rice in the the rice in Japan, right? They're famous with the Japanese rice. The Philippines can also do that by creating here. Other products can be created also, and it will be exported outside the country. So that's the vision of the future, like seeing people productive and happy in their workplace and providing them sort of sustainable livelihood at the same time, a sort of safe place where they can live. It's a community where they help each other and are creating results by maximizing the land. That's what I see.
So so right now, let me just share the 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 deck that we made. No? Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Uh, so the Arca Village project. No, talk about this one. No? So starting with food. All throughout human history, no, the fundamental driver of civilization is we go there, we migrate from a nomadic, no, nomadic tribe to migrating to a farm community. But right now, it's not the case. Diba? Everybody goes out of the provinces to be in the cities. So beginning with you know, food security. Can you talk about this picture here? No? What are these structures?
These structures are rain shelters. No? It's a sort of it's as it's from the word it's from the greenhouse, but greenhouse is for the countries that has no and close ano. But a rain shelter is it's a covering actually, and it has to protect from from rain at the same time from pests to come in, and it's also a good it's a structure wherein the farmers can continue do the farming while even it's still raining or even it's very hot because it's a protected structure. And by that, the rain shelters also is has technologies that can make farming more efficient and thus build or boost also productivity. Like for example, drip irrigation,
Mhm.
monitoring of crops, and also very importantly, it really protects it from the pest and those like the rain is very also fatal for the for for the crops. But it's sort of a tool, no, for farmers for them. So it's like if you have a jeep, if you're a driver, you need a jeep. For farmers, you need a rain shelter.
Yeah, let's talk about the production capacity. So from the previous ones, no, you that every uh so every rain shelter would have a production capacity of 1,000 kilos of produce every week for just 1,000 square meters. No, again, no, this is varies. No disclaimer, this varies, but how were you able to do this? No, it's the yield is maximized.
Yeah, because it has the technologies to grow, and then you have the right inputs to make it work. And since there's a protected structure, that 1,000 per kilo is very achievable. Like for example, when you grow a cucumber, in each shelter, it has like 1,000 square meter, but it has four tunnels. So every week you get to have a harvest in every. But to achieve that, we have also to created also a sort of a nursery wherein the farmers will just put the seedlings there for them to grow. So it's a sort of there's a supported system on the backside.
Okay, so that enables
Yeah.
uh maximum yields for these rain shelters. And then you already mentioned its protection from too much heat or too much rain and pests as well. And then uh about the also one of the things is it's 1:1 farmer to rain shelter ratio. So every So the only thing that the one farmer can be focused on is his rain shelter. No, she takes care of that. No, can you tell us how you came about this? And then, no, for every farmer, we talk about in the past about, no, they would, no, mangutang sila, they would lend money so that they would be able to plant, and then at the harvest time, no, they became a one day millionaire, no, and then after paying all the debts, then they would now be starving for the next few months. But what you did in Arca is you are doing it, no, can you uh talk more about that, of how that concept works, about, the farmer one, and then the economics of that.
Yeah. Actually, there's a change of the model that
Mhm.
we have. It still have one farmer in one shelter, which is he becomes, we call it a farmer champion.
Farmer champion, okay.
Yeah, farmer champ who really focus on his tunnel, his rain shelter.
Mhm.
But along the way, there's a sort of a farm assist that also supports the farmer, because it's what, when we tested it, it is was really hard for a farmer to do the things in one tunnel, and it needs a farm assist. That farm assist will help on the harvesting. The farm assist will help on the monitoring. There will be sort of agri technicians who will also monitor. So the farmers will focus on the caring of the crops. So that farmer assigned there will be the one responsible on on everything there. But there's a solid behind the scene supporting him.
Gotcha.
It's a part of the ecosystem, like for example harvesting. So the people who works in the post harvest facility will also assist him on the harvesting. And
Okay.
there are also means and ways also, like for example there are like 10 rain shelters there, and then now it's your time to have to clear up. There will be a farm assist who do the support to make it the work more faster. So they will have a sort of bayanihan system.
Wow,
but
okay.
but for it to be also very successful, there should be one farmer champion who will really focus on one on one shelter, on one rain shelter, because he's responsible to that, because he's the ones managing it.
Okay.
Right.
So let's talk about, economics, on why this works. No, so 1,000. So let's say, everything goes well and we always produce 1,000 kilos, but which is, again, disclaimer, this which is not the case all the time, but
Mm.
we're very confident that these numbers are sound. No, so 1,000 kilos per week. So on average, how much is a per kilo for all the produce? Let's say 50 pesos. Is that a good number? 50 pesos per
uh
kilo?
we can cite, like for example cucumber.
Mhm.
So our contract price is like 35 pesos.
35 pesos. But you also have cherry tomatoes, which is 150 pesos, right? So on
Yeah,
average, it's about, let's say, 50. Is that a sound number, or we can lower
yeah,
it down?
yeah. That's a sound
50.
number for
Yeah.
50. And
Right, right.
but
So on average is 50. So that means that every rain shelter produces 50, 1,000 kilos per week. It's 50,000 per month, and no, 50,000 per week times 4 weeks in a month. So more or less, one rain shelter would earn, no, again, if everything goes good, there's no outside factors, and everything is good, then ideally it would earn about 200,000 pesos per month per rain shelter. Is that correct?
uh probably we can hit that, but there are other factors also
Yeah,
depending.
yeah. Again, let's not talk about outside factors, no. Uh, uh, if it's just consistent, so it's just consistent that there's no other outside factors, no, everything is good, no, the harvest is great, the yield is great. So, uh, with when best case scenario, it's about 200,000 pesos per rain shelter per month. Is the economics right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
and then uh if that's the case, 200,000, and you only need like one or two farmers, the farmer champion and the farmer assist, to work on that. No, usually how much we pay the farmers every month?
What we did is we pay them by sort of, there's a sort of a goal that they need to reach the productivity. So
Again, if it's like 200,000 a month, so they are maximized in their productivity. How much do they earn?
if they are on that stage, I think there will be they will be receiving around, I think, 10 to 15K per week.
Wow. So they are earning 40,000 a month.
Yeah, I think that's
So you're now like a supervisor in a call center.
yeah, the actually yun
Right?
talaga, yun
That's
talaga
the
yung kita ng farmer if
that's the
they're
comparable, right?
yeah, if they're efficient.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
they're
So again, we're doing it, no, the best case scenario. So if their best case scenario 15,000, so that means they are 15,000 a week. So they could earn maximum 60,000 a month. Oh, you're
yeah,
now a bank manager.
yeah, that could be very, that can hit actually.
Di ba?
Uh yeah.
That
And that's
so
our
that farmer is not poor, right?
yeah,
That
that's why
farmer is rich.
yeah,
Sixty
but
thousand a
there
month.
yeah, but there are some, because agriculture is based on, by the way, bro, it's our progress is based on the cropping.
Right,
So
right.
in each channel there are like croppings, like for example for cucumber, you
Mhm.
need to grow it like, I don't know the right number, but I think 45 days or uh, and it will have like one plant, it will have a target of 3 kilos for 3 to 3 to 10 kilos. Yung 3 yung pinaka minimal na. But
Right,
5 to
right.
10, but 10 will be the maximum.
Yep.
So
Oh,
10 kilos per plant.
wow. Okay.
And then that will be the for the entire like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
But it will start harvesting after a certain period.
Right,
But
right.
from there you will start to harvest and then it will die and then you will replace it again. So it's
Yeah.
another cropping. So it's sort of that's why we need it. We have a cycle. So
Right, right.
after that tunnel gets harvested, the second tunnel again will start to to have harvest again. So
Harvest
it's not
again.
a cycle like the
Yep,
first
yep.
tunnel. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
So
I understand, understand. Yeah, I understand. So there's a cycle to it, and there's no but it's just I want our audience to know that there's money to be made, right? Money to be
yeah,
made out of this activity, no. Obviously they don't the technical side of things, no, the cycle time and things like that. No, we take care of all of that for them, no, for
yeah,
our would be partners, supporters, and investors. We take care of that, all of that for them. I'm just emphasizing that the economics are sound, right?
yeah. Actually, it could more improve along the years that
Right, exactly.
we put
The
it there.
more
And
technology we could be able to deploy, no, it
and
could
yeah,
be
and
better.
the level of the farmers also. That's why we deploy also agri experts there to
Mm-hmm.
monitor, because these farmers are high school graduate or even not high school graduate. So that's why they have to. It will take them time also to learn, but it's easier kasi when
Upskilling also the farmers.
upscaling. That's why it has a cycle then. But eventually, that's why it's easier for them to adapt, because the farmers will just focus on trellising,
Mhm.
taking care,
Right, right.
weeding, all other activities inside, and others like pest controls and other things that will be taken care of with the farm assist.
Gotcha.
The
Yeah.
farm assist are the backside of it that makes the farmer also very successful. It's not only one person, because the idea of ARCA system is more of ecosystem play.
Right.
Everybody has its expert. Somebody on the nursery is expert on the nursery, but somebody has to be focused on that. Somebody is focused on. So there are level of expertise in the farm, and
Right.
I think the goal there to build that shelters and make it viable, economically viable, it's because it does that is the spark, or that is the the sort of the light on that village to start creating abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Because the goal
Right.
there is to make this community sustainable, so they can now contribute to the second phase, which is farm tourism and other stuff,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah,
So
we will talk about those two.
yeah,
Uh,
so this is
so
the primary thing. For us to enable them, we have to create them the livelihood. So this is the missing piece. Like, if you have the land, that's why people will not really invest on people there, will not spend money on there, because they don't have maybe the resources to do it, but they have the land. And what Arca is doing is to create that sort of uh, work or livelihood there, so it can has sort of uh, uh, economics inside that location, right? Because people now are productive,
mhm,
harvesting crops, planting crops. So that is the engine on the next phases of the development.
right. So this to uh have this slide over here is focusing on the farmer. So basically, the farmer would increase their earning capacity by joining an Arca village, no, or being inside the Arca village. They're gonna be members of a farmers cooperative, no, and with that, because they would have now stable income. No, the next, one of the things that would create a village is, of course, people need to live there, no, and
Yeah,
uh, we don't want our farmers, no, to live in a not good condition, because they need to work, they are exerting effort, but now because they have now stable income, no, they can be eligible, no, for a socialized and economic housing loan through the Pag-ibig Fund. So we have spoken with, no, uh, uh, officials of Pag-ibig, and they are actually very interested in partnering with us in developing, housing communities adjacent to the farms, and that would create now the whole Arca village. So even if, agrarian reform, we're not gonna, it's not gonna be the farmers who's gonna be owning the land, but they can own their own house, and that's the dream really that we are envisioning for the future, especially for me on the real estate side of things. That when the farmers can now own their own house that is theirs, they have equity in it, no? And that, no, how much is a house right now, and then with appreciation, no, that's over, 1 million pesos in value. So now you could say that every farmer is a millionaire because they would have a house worth more than 1 million pesos. So if it's economic housing, it's probably 1.2 or 1.5 million pesos. And through Pag-ibig, so the mortgage or the amortization that they will pay is what, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, maybe 5,000 pesos per month, which they can afford because they're now earning what, 10,000 pesos per week or 15,000 pesos per week. It's very affordable. It has very sound economics, and that's just uh, one of the things that we are looking to build in the Arca village. So we're also thinking about where would these farmers live. Initially, no, they would, have their houses there and make up a hut or something, but eventually, no, and it won't take a lot of time. No, in a few months or a year, they can already start, owning their own house. No, what do you think about this initiative, Neil?
uh, actually, when we build the village, since there's already people there, the land are productive. The goal really, like, what, like for example, why people from the province go to urban locations, because they want to create jobs. How do you, what
Right.
do you want to work? and then by that work they will able to earn money. But the problem is it's not enough for them because they have to pay rent, pay food, right? And that's why it's hard for them to really even buy a house.
Right.
And for this situation is that it's the reverse. So instead of attracting these farmers or other people in the rural area, I will just make it generalized because
Right.
everyone we don't call them farmers, but they are part of that ecosystem of agricultural supply chain.
Mhm.
But these people are who live in the rural area. Now we cannot, now we don't anymore bring them to the city. It will actually depopulate the locations because the jobs being created is in the farm, in the village. And
That's
now
right.
this village becomes productive. Like for example, I'll give you sort of example, like a certain farm produces products that can be exported. So these products being grown in the farm, processed in that location, and then ship it outside or ship it locally also. And that needs workforce and needs investment and needs, it's a livelihood, right? And
Mhm.
these people working there need not to go to the city already because there's already work in that location. And now since the benefit of here is that they will not anymore rent a house because it's part of the cooperative system that the part of the member can also own a house.
Right.
And because there's already productivity there, then people can pay, right? And even
Mhm.
not just farmers, even like for me, settlers from urban area speed up about the baha and all other things and want to live peacefully, and they are working online, or maybe they are graphics designers, social media managers, or they work in the BPO, can also choose to live there because there's a connection and a good location. So right, so it's a sort of creating opportunities on that location, and food is also there already because you're
Right.
producing food. So this a way of depopulating it by creating sort of economy here in the rural area through the Arca Village setup project. So
Exactly.
yeah, for example, like a single farmer gets to earn 15,000 or maybe 20 or 30. It's a big difference if you in the city because the food is expensive, the rent is,
Right.
but if you
Right.
live it here, the cost of living is very cheap, thus having a property that you can grow. I think maybe the housing could be more cheaper also. It's because the land is compared to the city is expensive,
Right. That's right. That's right. The housing
right?
could be cheaper as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can sell a 500,000 house. That's good enough for them
Mhm.
rather than no house and a property.
Right.
And
Yeah.
one of the problem here is the sense of ownership. The farmers don't even have a house, those things. But this now creates it's an opportunity. Now, for us, why we need this? If the farmers are already well trained professionals and all the people working in the supply chain, you have to keep them right, and you have to keep them happy and have this sort of security. One of piece there is house, right? You have to build a family. Now you don't have any more problem with workforce because they're living in the same village.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And with this initiative, uh, we are inviting architects and engineers to partner with us to help us design uh, sustainable and housing for the farming community, and also master planning. Again, this is a initiative that we will do nationwide. So, although we have already architects and engineers in the team, uh, but to scale this to a level that is unprecedented and would be able to really address the food security issue, we need you know dozens or hundreds of ARCA villages all over the country. And so let's talk about the next phase after. after we do, agriculture and farming, and now affordable housing for our farmers. Now, what happened in the pilot farm in Luzaran is now people flock there because they want to see the farm, right? The farm now becomes the amenity, right? It becomes now a tourist destination. So can you talk about that experience on why is
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
yeah. Every person that visited there wants to live there.
Wow.
Even the owner of Lemon Coast said, I want to build something there. I want to build my retirement home there. A certain chef said, can I bring my family here? Because they feel the community, they feel the place, because the place is also very nice to relax instead of going to the mall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with this enabled, uh, the farm is set up. There's food in there. There's already roads created because of that activity, and there will be created like swimming ponds because there already community there,
Right.
workforce that can,
Swimming ponds instead of swimming pools, right?
yeah,
That's
swimming
very good
ponds,
one. Yeah.
because there's abundant of water and you have to catch it, and you have to create sort of a swimming pond. And by that also, because of this vast area, now people can, instead of going to like Santa Lucia or those things, those are expensive. It's very expensive thing, but it's not even, it's just it just looks good, but there's no so much nature in there
Right.
compared to the Arca village. It's a connection of the nature, people, and the food, right? So when you go there, you have to, you will really enjoy, so it's a new way of like checking in a hotel. I would rather go here compared to the hotel, because in the hotel, even you're in the resort, you'll be locked in inside the room. But here you get to roam around, and you don't even know that you're been exercising. You're walking barefoot. So actually, there's a word of sort of a healing process there, like kids going around playing with the goats, playing, running around, playing with children, get out from the gadget. There's already a sort of mental health fix there, right?
Right.
And when family like the father and mother get to have time with each other and sitting down, just being at that moment, right? Instead of rushing around, very stressed, right? So
Mm-hmm.
nature has its own way of healing people, and
Sure.
this is the magic that you're trying to say, that
Mhm.
by building it, magic comes in because of these resources that has been regenerated and being created also.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, so that's basically the whole Arca Village concept. No, right now, from farming community, to enabling of those farmers to afford their own houses and affordable housing initiatives, and now for the public to actually enjoy that farm by a farm resort concept, that they would be able to book accommodations there. They would be able to have a day trip to the farm and things of that, and that enables also another no job opportunities, livelihood opportunities for the families of the farmer, the wife or their children, or no their other neighbors, to be able uh to be able to participate in the economic growth of that area. So
Yeah,
so that basically uh the
I,
Arca Village concept. Yeah, Neil, you were saying.
back
Mm.
backslide please.
Ah,
Yeah, and the other thing that we are also want, like for me actually, that's why I created the village, is just to answer, because I have the experience before. I think you were been hit by Odette, right?
mhm. Yeah, that's right.
And we also been experienced about the COVID, right?
Mhm.
And my realization that time is that if these things happens again, where should I go? Should I lock my my place, or wait for some subsidy, or wait some food for me to be delivered to the hotel, or to
Mhm.
the condominium that I live, or to
Right.
the subdivisions that I live. This one is sort of an answer to my question that if if there's challenges or sort of catastrophe or things that we cannot control, I'll be here in this place safe with my family, right?
Yeah.
It's a good investment for me, and I wanted, now I can go here, but I wanted to share it to the rest of the people also, that they could live there and still continue to work at the same time, have a sort of a safe place like an ark, right? Like
Mhm.
now rich people are creating bunkers, no? And this one bunker is like a prison for me.
Mhm.
A
Yeah.
village for me is a sort of a safe bunker, right? It's a safe bunker within. You need food, you can have there. You need some assistance from other people, there's a community there. You have to have fresh food, it's there, right?
Mhm.
So I would say that actually that's the main thing. The end result of this is to create an ark, like a Noah's ark, but a safe bunker for people, right? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the thing that I see also, to bring more people there and live in this area, and enjoy life, because we've been chasing around dreams, but we're still in this office. We are still in this house that has been in the square. I wanted to share sort of experience that you can
Yeah.
go anywhere, run, play, hide, enjoy, meet friends, enjoy the nature. That's been taken from us from many years, and we want to bring it back this time through this Arca project.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. So, we're you know inviting people to join us in this movement, no, and be the inspiration to build more Arca villages all around the Philippines and beyond. No, either you can volunteer uh, in so many other forms. No, find us on social media and things like that. Just ask if you want to be a volunteer. We're also looking for financial partners to be able to help us fund this very ambitious project. Uh, also, if you are interested in being investor and helping us in this advocacy, uh, and obviously return on investment and business growth as well. That's always been the primary driver, apart from the effect of social impact. Uh, but we are also inviting you to join us, and also landowners that has unused agricultural lots. Uh, Ideally about 10 hectares, more or less, and you if you wanted to build your own Arca village in the community that you're in, or if you're no longer in that community and you want to revive that community and or go back to that community because you're no longer there, but you want somebody to enable that, we can also do that for you, and you can partner with us and be an Arca builder uh, as the landowner. So, Neil, anything that you wanted to add, and just to wrap things up, invite people, inspire people to join and support this Arca Village movement.
Yeah, I'm first of all I want to thank also Riva staff, or OG Lopez, for thank you OG for really also
Of course, man.
uh, taking this opportunity for us to make it happen, no? And it was just a dream before, and now it's becoming a reality. And the pressure is here for us also, is that you know uh, we live in a world that is very very uh, connected in some way, but source of creating more problems, and we have to be back on our roots. And the primary goal to really to enjoy life with the family, friends, and enjoy life, not just chasing these things. Uh, so these things. So yeah, we want to see you in the village and be part of this movement, and any means that you can have. It's a sort of saving lives for our farmers, saving lives for yourself, saving lives for the community, and doing something that does really matter. I would say invest on things that matters, right? No matter how many shoes you have, how many cars you have, if there's a problem, like, it does not matter actually. But with this project, I'm perfectly say that whatever you put in there, it will really create impact in each one of us. And this is a project that really has it creates matter. This project has really does matter. So yeah, I'm just excited to see you and work with us also. Thank you.